Hello, everybody. Today we are going to talk about different views what we have. Once there was a very poor and devoted woman who always prayed to the glory of God, asking very little, if anything, for herself. But one thought, one desire continued to recur, and finally she asked, petitioning the Lord that if it were possible, she would love to prepare a special meal and have God share at her table. And God, in his love for this good woman, said he would indeed come the next day and share a meal. Filled with ecstasy, the woman went out the following morning with her purse full of money and purchased everything, whatever she thought she should serve the God. Returning home, she prepared a banquet and waited patiently for her most honored guest. Soon there was a knock on the door, and when she opened it, there stood an old beggar asking for something to eat. Being a woman of God, she could not turn the beggar away. So she invited him into the table, into her house. The beggar felt as if he was in a dream. Such a feast set before him. He finished all the food, thanked his hostess, and left. The woman was only slightly disheartened. She gathered up her purse, her coat, and hurried back to town to get more food for her special guest. Her funds were less now, and so the food was not quite so elaborate. Nevertheless, she lovingly prepared another meal and sat to await the arrival of the Almighty. A few hours went by, and there was a loud knock on the door. This time it was an old gypsy woman with no teeth, who was deaf, who spoke quite loudly and was rather rudely, insisting that any true believer in the Lord would not deny her something to eat. Though the woman had no more money with which to buy more supplies, she invited the woman and offered her a seat at the table. The gypsy ate everything, did not even thank the woman, and left without closing the door. By now, it was beginning to get dark both inside and out. The woman's faith was strong, so that though somewhat distraught, she did not give up, but rather looked around her humble house to see if there was anything she could sell in order to buy more food to set before the Lord. She hurried to the town with a little silver cup that had been in her family for several generations, but she was willing to part with it for the great honor that God was going to bestow on her, the sharing of a meal with her in her house in the dining table. Late in the night, she rushed home to prepare yet a third meal. She waited and waited until one more time she could hear a knock on the door. Holding her breath, she slowly opened the door to find yet another poor man in the guise of wandering monk in search of a meal. Again, she offered hospitality with as much grace as she could muster in her disappointment. This man also ate all that was set on the table and left after blessing the woman for her kindness. So discouraged and dismayed was she that all she could do was nod slightly in acknowledgement of the thanks. Now it was too late, with no way to buy any more food and no more money with her to buy anything more. She got down on her knees, weeping such heartbroken tears. She asked God what she had done wrong. Why had God not come to share at the table as he had promised? And God, in all his divine compassion and mercy, lifted the woman off her knees and holding her close to his heart and said, "My child, I enjoyed your hospitality so much that I came 3 times." What do we understand from this? Many times we have such fixed views about praying and serving to God that we fail to see the other ways. The best way to serve the Creator is by serving His creation, not by ignoring it. The question you need to ponder on is, are you giving your best to serve His creation? Stay blessed.